G'day guys, this is the Skyrim rant. Now, before we get... Ooh. I always get so distracted when I see it, look at them. Before you get distracted... before I get distracted... Before you get angry and shit on me for, say... beating on Skyrim, understand that I've been playing this game since 2011, right? I've been playing this game. And, again... this sort of shit coming from my mouth doesn't make much sense. But, let me first say what I love about Skyrim. I love the modding. I mean, your imagination, it's pretty much like porn at this stage of 13 years. If you can think about it, somebody's made it. And yeah, there's like 3 or 4 porn mods, so someone's thought about that for sure. Now, I use sex labs, and they contribute to my story because you can't get there slaying dragons without slaying some pussy! But, let's get to the more important facts of why I love Skyrim. Now, things I love about Skyrim, right? It's, obviously I've said some modding. Like, look at this right here. We're in Whiterun. And it's winter. In the game. And so with modding, someone's gone ahead and made a mod called Seasons of Skyrim. Which was actually, I remember watching a video, I could never find it again, but it was one of those things Bethesda wanted to do. Because when they finished the game, they sort of released like a little video of the things the developers made, just as fun, like their own little mods. And there were spear animations, there was a season sort of mod that one of them made, there was rideable dragons, and there was a vampire lord. And 2 of those made into the DLC with the Dawnguard DLC and the Dragonborn DLC. Unfortunately, the seasons never came, but eventually a mod was made, and now they transition from in-game. If I turn it to spring and I go back inside, I'll come out and things will be green, or they're natural, I think, natural golden hue here. But again, its modding is unmatched. I mean, Skyrim is a game that we've played for 13 years. I'm going to say I think it's more successful than... I think it's a lot more successful than Minecraft. I mean, it's probably the biggest and greatest single-player game there is. You can play Minecraft online for sure, but this... I've always kind of given Skyrim the bells and whistles when it comes to it being the very best game there is when it comes to single players. I mean, you still hear about people buying the game and playing the game for the first time, and in recent histories. Like, how wild's that, man? A 13-year-old game, people are still buying it and playing it for the first time. I mean, it is their biggest and greatest game, Bethesda, right? It's their biggest and greatest. But I also think that's not the greatest thing, or the best thing for them. Because it's kind of affected them that they compare every other game to it. If Fallout 4 came out, you know, the voiced protagonist and people were just comparing it to Skyrim. Especially Starfield came out, and people were going, Skyrim was a good game, how'd this go to shit, blah blah. And I don't know how the next Elder Scrolls game is going to handle to something that's become a tree now, because it's been out for so long, it's been done by so many mods. I mean, vanilla Skyrim isn't nice, and we're about to see that real soon. When I walk past in a certain area, I'm going to jump into Skyrim and, you know, the vanilla Skyrim, alley Skyrim, and show you what it looks like. It's not a pretty sight, man. It's really not. You know, I don't understand why everyone compares Skyrim to every other game. What? That shit. I don't understand. It's just... vanilla Skyrim is an ugly game. Right, it is, but... I don't know. It's the modding scene, really, I believe, that keeps Skyrim alive. That is the central reason why Skyrim is one of the best games, or the oldest game in Skyrim. It's as simple as that, to me, right? It's just as simple as that. Now... it's just a game where you can, like, if you're having a rough day, to me it's probably my mental stability, and that sounds kind of weird. Like, I'm not an angry person or a depressed person. I'm not. But if I'm having a shit day, or I'm having a really busy day, I'm able to come into Skyrim and just lose myself. Go into a new lands, you know. I've never seen snow before in my life. Oh, you're lucky. Turn the detection off. I've never seen snow in my entire life, man. And I'm able to come to this winter wonderland and run around and battle across the land and go on quests to find ancient artifacts and stuff like that. It's honestly, you can't really compare it, you know, to And this is with mods. I don't think I'd ever play it vanilla. And I don't know how long I've played it for with vanilla. But it's obviously one of those games where you can just escape into the world. Oh man, I'm going to have like so many cohorts rocking up real soon. It's just, you know, like, honestly, I don't think everyone that's listening to me right now can understand it's one of those games you just come into if you've been playing it for a few years, or like me, 13 years. It's one of those games you can just come into and you could lose yourself, you know. You feel at peace for some reason. It brings you calm coming into Skyrim, you know, like especially for those who have a rough life, you can escape your reality by coming here into Skyrim and just being in the world, and that's a beautiful thing. Honestly, it's a beautiful thing. So I just wanted to say those sort of things, that the modding is awesome, the modders are awesome, and of course, you know, the game helps you escape, I guess, the real world or something like that. And honestly, I love Skyrim. But it's now time, I think, I need to shit on it a little. Right. I need to shit on it a little because it really needs it. And firstly, all this probably lies with the blame Skyrim came out too early. And Bethesda, I don't think they've ever said it's come out too early. But it obviously has. Because, well, look at Skyrim itself. The 9 holds of Skyrim, right? It's really 5 holds of Skyrim and 4 villages. If you played Oblivion, all their cities were unique. Their architecture were unique. It wasn't the greatest game, don't get me wrong, and I'm going to compare this game to Oblivion because that was my first game, and obviously people that played Morrowind are probably going to shit on Oblivion for lacking things that Morrowind had. I mean, the bigger a game gets, the smaller it gets, if that makes any sense to you. If they're going to put voice acting in it, a dynamic world or this and that, they're going to lose out on things in the background like lots of roleplay or weapon combos or things like that. You know, like, for example, Morrowind had a shit ton of guilds, but it wasn't all voiced. Only the main characters I think were voiced. Everything else was like text written. And you had like, for the armor slots you had boots, greaves, belt, torso, arms, and I think helmet. But I think you had like left arm, right arm. Like, it was crazy, man. Like, you could have different gauntlets and different boots. And then in Oblivion the belts disappeared, the left and the right disappeared, and I think the shoulders disappeared too. And then in Skyrim, the kind of, you know, the chest plate became the greaves, the shoulders, the belt, and the torso. And I don't know how they're going to get any worse when it comes to Elder Scrolls 6. But Skyrim, it came out way too early. It came out way too goddamn early. And I believe it's at least 2 or 3 years it came out too early, because you can see it everywhere you go. With the quest lines, with the Holds of Skyrim, they really suffered because of it. And, like, you know, there being 4 villages. I mean, Winterhold, right? I wonder if there was a plan to have it destroyed, or it was just a last minute decision because of the time strain they had and they didn't have enough time to make it a city. Because if you go to Riverwood, well, Riverwood's bigger than fucking Winterhold. Like, it's got at least double the population. I'm not talking about the Mages Guild. Like, I don't really even count that as part of Winterhold. What's the bloody point? I mean, they're 2 separate locations and they both don't like each other, naturally. But, yeah, I just don't see the college as part of Winterhold. There's like 4 or 5 people in... Not 4 or 5. There's probably like 6 or 7 people that live in the Winterhold city itself. Calling it a hold is a massive insult. And then you've got places like Falkreath and Morthel, Dawnstar, and then obviously Winterhold, which are the 4 smaller holds of Skyrim. And they're villages. They're bloody villages. You go into Riverwood for the first time, that's what you see every time you go to these places. You know, and it's really lackluster. There's obviously mods to fix that, and they are 100% recommended. Like, you really don't want to go into those sort of places without mods. You know, like the Cities of the North, or Chevelle, I don't remember his name, Chef, like an F in there somewhere. He's got a really good couple mods, like especially for Felt. I use his Morthel mod because it looks awesome, and I use Cities of the North for Falkreath and Dawnstar. But anyway, mods can obviously fix that, and mods obviously fix way too many things in this game. That is the problem with Skyrim, is that you need like you need at least 100 mods to fix Skyrim to make it feel, oh my god. to make it feel more immersive, to make it feel more like a previous Elder Scrolls game. Mods are meant to add modifications, they're meant to add more, right? And I think too many mods are needed to fix Skyrim than, you know, to actually enjoy the playability of Skyrim. But again, I've been playing for 13 years, I've got all that shit covered. You know, I could never play vanilla Skyrim. It feels really watered down because it came out too early. The next thing I want to get to is the Civil War, right? The Civil War is something that I absolutely want to bash on. And then we'll get to the main quest and the guild quest and stuff like that. The Civil War, they've talked about this being massively cut. They had like sabotage plans, many quests to get your forces bigger. I think every town you could actually raid, because if you've ever been to the creation kit and you go to Riverwood or any other town, you'll see like Civil War battle spawns there. So there's a mod that I use called Open Civil War, which allows you to attack like, you know, the holds and stuff like that, and do it on the board game, and do it via dialogue and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. It's a really cool mod. You should check it out. But I don't know, man. Like, the idea of what the Civil War was going to be, to able to attack towns, sabotage windmills, sabotage farms, and, you know, attack towns, cities, and all that sort of stuff, was an amazing idea, man. Like, there's so much. Like, they cut that down to like 15%. 15%. 15, dude. Like, it's so watered down. Like, the Civil War quest lines are shit as. Like, it starts off alright. Like, you've got the first one's like a battle, which is pretty cool. But again, you go there and you just wait outside like the gate or the wall, and let your teammates, let your faction spawn, and they'll win the battle for you. You don't have to participate at all. You can't lose. And then you've got the Jagged Crown, the Battle of Whiterun, and then I think you've got a couple, for me it's the Imperials if you give Riften over. Or no, if Riften, you've got like a spy mission where you've got to go in there and infiltrate and get some information, blah blah blah. But your last one is like the Battle of Windhelm for me, as an Imperial player. And I know I'm walking around as a Stormcloak, but I play a unique game. I'm actually play the Imperial side, but Stormcloak's have it. Check out the stories if you want to know all that's about. I've got a playlist of stories. So it's just like, it's so boring. Most of the Civil War in Skyrim, you're just going into forts and sitting behind a wall and letting your teammates kill all the enemy, and then you've won it, and then all of a sudden you own the city. Like, it's just, go to this fort, capture the fort, you own the hold. Move the next hold, move the next hold, move the next hold, boom, you're done. It's so boring, it's so lackluster. Like, I just, like, they talk about how much was cut from the Civil War questline, and man, it really sucks. Like, it really sucks. It's just unbelievable how watered that is. Like, how much they lost what they wanted to do. Yeah, like, it'd be like asking for a whiskey, right, and getting like half a shot of like like, you're getting half a shot of whiskey and the rest of it's water instead of like a soda or a Coke or whatever you need to. Like, it's really bad, man. It's really bad. I think it's one of the worst parts of Skyrim is the Civil War questline, because in my eyes you've got two main questlines. You've got the Skyrim's questline, and then you've got the game Skyrim's questline. You've got you know, the political side of Skyrim, which is the Civil War, and then you've got like the big bad, all Skyrim's threatened by the dragons questline. And that's what I see as really the staple point to the main quest lines. And the political one is absolutely shithouse. Now, I saw what I really wanted to say about the Civil War quest line, but what I want to do is talk about the main quest line. But before we do that, we're going to jump into the vanilla game and walk around for a tiny bit before we return to beautiful Sigund here in the beautiful winter wonderland of Skyrim. Now, as we can see, vanilla Skyrim, and this is LE, isn't a very pretty sight. I mean, it's kind of gross. I can't even look at my character anymore, but it's very saturated, I guess you could say, kind of bland. And like, there's no depth of field, there's like, you know, grass is loading in. I don't see how people always compare the newer games like Fallout 4 and Starfield to Skyrim. Like, graphically, it's nowhere near enhanced. I do want to say though, I'm going to reference a lot of Oblivion in this video, and one thing Skyrim did way better is its character models. I mean, I'm able to use an app to take a picture of my dude here and turn him into a real person. I'll do that later actually for a bit of a laugh. But it's... ignore the textures too. I've got some textures that are broken. I don't know why, but they are. And, like... honestly, it's not a pretty game, vanilla Skyrim. Maybe if you haven't played it in a long time, it would always be good to be nostalgic and to come back and see what it was like. Because I love coming, like, don't get me wrong, I love coming here and seeing what unmodded Skyrim looks like. All my mods, and especially right now, it's winter in, you know, in my game, and there's some things that, you know, just, I don't know, but sometimes I feel like, I've got a castle right here. It's a snow elven castle. I think it's called Moonlight Castle or something. It's like a snow elven fortress right there, and it looks really nice. It, apart from the whole, and even those Khajiit caravanners, man, like, those dudes are unique in my game because they're the different races of Khajiit that you actually normally get. But honestly, I wouldn't want to come back here and spend hours playing vanilla Skyrim. Sure, it's a good nostalgia trip, but I actually feel like I'm playing a game from the past. With Skyrim Special Edition and all the mods, I feel like I'm still playing a modern game, even though it's old as fuck. But here I am in the original Skyrim. What, apart from the broken textures back there, but I'm in the original world, and I've got the time scale skipped to default, so it's going to turn night really soon. But I don't know, man. What the shit? Anyway, so my main pull, right, is we're going to go to Markarth. As soon as we get to Markarth, we'll change back into Legendary Edition. Why has everyone got this purple issue? Even the prisoners do, and the Imperial soldiers. So, my main problem with, you know, one of Skyrim's things is the main quest. As a guy that loves single player games, the first thing that I do is jump into the main quest, right? I'll kick the shit out of that straight away. And guild quests, side quests, everything else comes after. Now my problem with, I'm going to set the time scale real quick. Set time scale to 7. Set game hour to 12. The problem with Skyrim's main quest is it's a massive lie, right? You're told that you're the Dragonborn, that you're the only one that can stop Elduin, and that he's the World Eater. Now, I figured this out a couple of years before Pudge Muppet actually did it, and they put up a video, and it proves the fact that Elduin isn't the World Eater. I mean, he's not. I mean, the whole entire thing is he's meant to devour the world. Maybe at the very end he is. Maybe he's set back to destroy it all, and maybe by then it's all destroyed, there's no need to rule it or do this. But the very thing that he does in ancient Skyrim is he's revered as a god. Alright, dragons weren't always bad. There was a dragon cult, they worshipped the dragons. They were kind of good. They flew around, they did their thing, they were worshipped by humans. They weren't burning down villages unless, of course, they were against the dragon rule. And the reason the dragons went bad and the reason they were hunted into extinction is simply because of the dragon cult, the dragon priest. They went tyrannical, and the humans rebelled against them, and then since they rebelled against the priests, they kind of had to rebel against the dragons too. Now back then, Elduin ruled Skyrim. You know, he was a CEO. The dragons were the managers, and the dragon priests were their managers. And then it all went to shit because they got too power hungry, you know, as mortals do. And yeah, he became the bad guy. But he was ruling Skyrim. Like, he didn't destroy it. He didn't lay it to waste. And the very first thing that he does when he comes back in the Skyrim story, he doesn't devour the world. He goes to Helgen only because he wants to free Ulfric Stormcloak so he can keep the war going, and you know, if he needs to tap into power, he's resurrecting dragons. After a certain amount of time, he has to go back into Elduin, he has to go back into Sovngarde and devour souls so he can return and bring back more dragons. So that is his entire plan there, to bring back his kin, and he needs to keep the war going so he can devour souls to bring back his kin. Like, the World Eater? That makes no sense, man. Because if he was the World Eater, he wouldn't need to bring back his dragons. The very first thing he would do, within the space of 24 hours, is burn down all of Skyrim. And then maybe fly west or east or go into Cyrodiil, and then do the round trip. Like, it makes no sense, man. He's there to rule, and he returns to rule. the very first thing he does in the events of Skyrim is start bringing back dragons. Because he wants to bring back his kin so they can resurrect, their soldiers. They can bring back, the sort of people that he can have manage the territories of Skyrim. And probably now that humankind has returned and flourished throughout Tamriel, bring back dragons to conquer new lands like Cyrodiil and Blackmarsh and all these other places. There's actually a lot more Imperial soldiers on the road than they're a prison Inquisition. And all that sort of stuff, like, it just doesn't make much sense to me, like, why they'd call him the World Eater. He's not here to devour the world. This prophecy isn't that. Like, that's what the prophecy says, that Elduin will return to devour the world. Maybe eventually he will, but not during the time of Skyrim. He's here to return his rule, and he might burn down a few cities until they go, yup, we will serve you, and dragon priests start taking the, new mortal ones start taking the mantle, and this and that, but he's not here to devour the world. And the whole thing of, you're the Dragonborn, you're the only one that can stop him. Pure and absolute bullshit. I mean, you go up to High Hrothgar, we can even see it from here. Yeah. You go up to High Hrothgar, and you defeat him. But you can't kill him. The only way you can kill him is in Sovngarde. I mean, there's way too many steps of fate for that to even work, man. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It's like, the only way to get to Sovngarde is by being dead, right, and being a worshipper of Shor. Like, it doesn't really matter if you're a race anymore with Elder Scrolls Online. As long as you are a believer in the Nord values, you will go to Sovngarde. Apparently, that's with Elder Scrolls Online. Because King Emmerich was a Breton, but he went to the Redguard afterlife. So you gotta die? And are you even Dragonborn then? Can you even devour his soul? It makes no bloody sense. I mean, plus the only portal is in Skaldafa, which is you can't get there with legs and arms. You need wings. And there's only one portal to get there. It makes him pretty much an absolute god. Like, he's got god mode toogled as a god. Like, the only way the Dragonborn can permanently kill Elduin or put him out is by going and having to track him through the Sovngarde portal. There's just way too many lines of fate to that for it to work. Like, it would never work in real life. Like, obviously Skyrim's bullshit, it's work of fiction. But it would never work for the simple reason that you'd have like an army of dragons guarding the portal. You'd have every bit of your forces to meet the Dragonborn there to make sure they cannot and will not stop you. Sure, the Dragonborn's powerful by then, hopefully, but there's no way a little mortal with that sort of power is going to hold of 10 or 15 dragons, or this or that. It doesn't make any sense. It's just kind of impossible to kill him, because you need to be in the land of the dead, and there's only one way to get there. And since there's only one way to get there, his portal access is guarded by dragons and an army of Draga and a dragon priest. It's bullshit. He's not here to devour the world, as the prophecy says. He's here to rule it, like he did in the past. And you're not the only one that can kill him, because you can defeat him on Tamriel, but you can't physically kill him. He needs to be in the land of the gods to have his soul vanquished from his body and return to whatever's after Aetherius, because you don't get to even devour his soul. When you kill him, his soul is released into the atmosphere of Aetherius. So something else happens for maybe him to return during the time of his prophesized him to devour the world and remake it. But other than that, man, it's absolute bullshit, the main quest. Like, Oblivion's was awesome, because the further you got into it, the deeper you felt you were getting, right? It was getting scary. I'm gonna get hit by a Forsworn up here. Tuggle detect. It felt dangerous, because, first of all, when you start off, there's no Oblivion gates until you go to Kvatch, I'm pretty sure. And there's no one's trying to murder you in the street. And the further you start getting into the quest, the more you start doing, the more dangerous it becomes. Because you get to a point to where more gates will start opening up outside towns and cities, and people that you walked past many times before, if you didn't do the main quest straight away, all of a sudden went Daedric Assassin and tried to kill you. They're Mythic Dawn agents in disguise. Like, one of the funniest ones, one of my favourite ones, I'll never forget her. She's a dark elf in the Anvil, docks inn, and you can't stay there, because one of her lines is, "I'm sorry, but these beds are only reserved for seamen." And that cracked me up more than I could ever possibly say. Like, I just lost my shit every time I heard that. And I went in there one day to hear it again, and she went full Daedric Assassin and tried to fucking murk me. And I was like, holy fuck! And the further I went into the quest, the more gates started opening up. One of my most favourite What is that? Their texture's broken too. Oh yeah, would be. I will be honest. There's a lot more patrols. I don't think I've ever seen this many patrols in vanilla
Hope I don't
Skyrim.
draw guard duty.
Go tell the commander. I'm sure the boot in your arse will take your mind off your trouble.
I actually haven't heard those lines before. Not in any dialogue mods. But I'm actually surprised there's actually patrols, because I never ever, in vanilla Skyrim, when we get like, back to the Civil War content, you never ever saw the Civil War. Ever. Right? You never saw it. Because I never saw patrols meeting patrols on the road and Stormcloaks fighting Imperials. Let's have a look if these guys will actively kill each other. Look at that! This is one of the first times I've actually seen this. Haha, legends! Oh shit, bro! L's won! Anyway, back to the business. So, that's actually the first time I've actually seen that in vanilla Skyrim. Again, I haven't played vanilla Skyrim since probably like 2012, but I never thought there was actually patrols on the road. Because I never saw the Civil War taking off unless I was actually in the quest. And that was a big part of why I don't like vanilla Skyrim, because they talk about the Civil War, but you never ever see it on the roads. But I better Sun Guard. Yeah, that is probably controlled by the Forsworn at this time, I think. Since vanilla Skyrim, these forts are actually controlled by certain groups before the Civil War starts. Now, yeah, it's just the main quest was a letdown. Like, Oblivion's was awesome. The further you got into it, the more deep it felt. I remember going into a building in Oblivion, some random house out in the woods, and it was just like it was an empty house. All the lights were off. There was crates everywhere. Like someone had packed up and they're ready to go, but it never happened. It just sat there useless and empty until they died. And I went inside this house and I came outside the house, and when I turned around, there was an Oblivion gate there, and the house was destroyed. It was like you'd left the place at the nick of time. And it was crazy. It was like scary. Even though it was planned, it felt like, holy shit, I'd just been spared by an inch of a second or something like that. And I don't know. Like, again, my first game was Oblivion, so I'm going to compare it to that. And Morrowind fans will probably shit on Oblivion quite a bit for what Oblivion lost when it come to the Morrowind and Oblivion sort of comparison. Because again, the bigger these games get, the smaller they get. If that kind of makes sense. So maps get bigger, they get more detail, they get different voices, but it always misses something. It always loses some sort of core element of what made that game special. The next game never has. But yeah, it was, I don't know, the quest in Skyrim just feels boring. Yeah, like it's boring. Once you've killed the first dragon at the watchtower, it's all done. It's completely over and done with, and there's no need to continue it anymore. Like, all that happens is just a random dragon will turn up at some fucking town whenever you fast travel and start killing the civilians and turning into a ghost town, because for some reason the Skyrim AI wearing their farming clothing with their iron dagger see a dragon, decide, fuck yeah, let's fight. You know, like, I would be having a solid fucking brick drop in the back of my down my thigh. No, I got detection back on. Like, the last thing I would want is to fight a fucking dragon from a farmer with an iron dagger. Like, you don't want that shit, yeah? Oh, he wants this shit. You want this shit, lad? Nope, wrong button. But yeah, there's no consequence or gravity to it. Once you've started the quest, you might as well finish it, within the space of 10-15 minutes, because all you do is once you've killed him, the dragons start reappearing, whenever you fast travel into a town, and they start killing the civilians. There's no gravity to it. I don't feel like it's getting worse. I don't feel like I need to finish this quest because the world's in danger of me not finishing it. I don't feel like the world's going to end when the dragons return. It just feels like they're annoying as fuck because they keep wasting everybody in the town. Because everyone in their clothing wants to fight a dragon. But, again, that's just what I don't like about vanilla Skyrim. Is that a fucking dragon? Is that a rock slide? Oh, yeah, well, thank God. It's just, yeah, that's just my main pull with the main Dragon Quest, and it just doesn't sit well. Now we're going to jump back into beautiful Legendary Edition, enjoy the winter wonderland of the Reach. Here we are in beautifully modded Skyrim Special Edition. Now, I think I've covered the main quest, and I've covered the Civil War being absolutely watered down. Yeah, like, there's a couple of things like Guild Quest, right? The Guild Quest. So, like, I don't exactly know how that one works, but the Dark Brotherhood is probably my favourite guild because you get to play an assassin, and that's pretty cool and shit. And you gotta kill the Emperor, which is a pretty big target, you know, like, probably in the next game you have to probably kill another Emperor or whatever. But it's... I don't think the questline was bad, necessarily. I enjoyed it. Its miscellaneous quests were absolutely AIDS. And that falls down to it being voiced. I mean, you become the listener and you've got to go and kill people, right? You listen to the Night Mother, she goes, talk to a priest, a corrupted priest in the Temple of Kinnereth, and he'll go and tell you to kill somebody. And since it's voiced by both the Night Mother and the person who committed the contract, there's very limited, and I mean limited, probably like 5 targets you can hit. And I remember like way back in 2014 when I was doing this, I had to go and talk to the same priest 4 times to kill the same shield maiden and Markarth 4 times, and I was fucking done, man. I was like, never doing this shit again. It is so pointless. And I'm not even sure there's a mod today that fixes that. That has like a random radiant thing in where you can go kill random people. Like, I would give my left testicle, right, for for a mod that would allow me to, like, when the Night Mother talks to me, the screen fades out, and it's like, basically go and talk to somebody from random generated NPC, and they give me a note, like the Thieves Guild do. Because the Thieves Guild give you a note of a random target in one of the major holds, one of the 5 holds of Skyrim, and they give you a... bloody hell, I need the zombies behind me. They give you a random person to rob, or a random house to steal, and I like that. It's random. It's never the same person. Sometimes it even made me steal from the orphanage in Riften. I felt dirty. But again, it was just like, it was so pointless to do these miscellaneous quests. There was assassinations you could commit, but they were quests. They were named NPCs. I would have loved, absolutely loved something like the Black Book in Elder Scrolls... what's it called again? Online. But you had to kill named NPCs and they respawned anyway. But I would have loved the system, and I mean, I'll give my left nut for that mod. If someone adds like a black ad system to where you don't have to talk. You don't have to talk to the Night Mother. Well, you do, but the screen fades out. You go to a contract, they give you a note who to kill, and you kill that person. It's a random person. It could be a traveller, could be an adventurer deep in a ruin, could be a soldier in a command post, could be a random Forsworn, could be a farmer, could be a full battle battalion. Thank God she's wearing clothes. Yeah, it could be a number of random people. It could be a caravan, like a trade caravan with a guy on his horse with like 15 guards or something like that. You know, something that felt random. You know, like, and it could be in a range of all different targets. Could have been an easy a dude travelling on the roads. Like, it could be an adventurer, right? Just like Sigurd right here. She could be walking the roads, or it could be deep in some ruined cave fighting with the Draga. You know, he's set to protect you so he can't die. And that would have been amazing. Like, you know, going all over Skyrim to kill absolutely random people. Someone working in a farm, which that's actually one. A priest, travelling merchant, all sorts of different scenarios. It'd be a lot of hard work, no doubt, having to do all that sort of randomisation. But I would hands down would have loved that. Skyrim's Dark Brotherhood questline was fun, but once you've completed it, there's never ever a reason to go back. It is completely and utterly pointless because you're sent to kill the same person over and over and over because it's all voice. The Thieves Guild, I kind of like that one. You know, that one's fun because the miscellaneous quests are fun. The very end of it though pisses me off. It makes me so angry because to fully rebuild the Thieves Guild isn't an actual quest line. It's more of you got to do like 5 successful miscellaneous quests in the one spot, like in the one of the major 5 holds. The shit, is that a sword? You know, so once you've completed the quest and killed Mercer, they say, oh, you'll be the Thieves Guild when you do this. So it's not actually a marked quest. Once you've killed Mercer and done all that, you can just piss off and never go back. But if you do, and you want to rebuild the Thieves Guild proper, you have to complete 5 miscellaneous quests in each of the cities. but it's completely random. So when you go up to Vex and Mercer, they might give you Riften non-stop. What the hell? Or they might just send you back to the same place you've already unlocked, and I hate that, man. It's so boring, it's so pointless, and it makes me angry, and once I had to kill Vex because she made me way too angry, and that sort of stuff. The companions, on the other hand, man, the companions were boring. The only reason to join the companions was to become a goddamn werewolf. That's the only reason. Because in the space of a day, you become the Harbinger. You know, the very first contract Farkas, I think, or Vilkas sends you after is to go beat some dude. I mean, you're meant to be the honourable companions, right? You're meant to be hardy warriors that serve Skyrim, the most famous of mercenaries. And yet they send you out to some thug shit to go bash some farmer up. It's like, that's not very honourable. And then all of a sudden you've completed your first trial and you're sent after a quest to find some fragment of Ruthgrag, and there's like 3 or 4 others that have been there for a lot longer than you have. And you discover they're werewolves, and then all of a sudden you help them out and you do one more quest for them. They're like, oh yeah, you're good, you can become a werewolf. You're good. And then after that quest, you're like, oh, you become a werewolf. Congratulations, you're the Harbinger. There was no gravity or responsibility to the companions whatsoever. Like, in the space of 3 quests, I think there's actually only 6 quests for the companions, you're a goddamn Harbinger werewolf. It was just pointless. For the College of Winterhold, the magical side of things, you didn't even have to be a mage, man. I mean, the only time you needed to know how to use a spell was, I think it was like the Synod quest, where you got to discover ancient artifacts, like light some wall up with some sort of like astral physic sort of ray that lights some wall up with magical artifacts on a wall. And all you needed to know was frostbite and flames. And I'm pretty sure you get flames when you start the game. Like, it's automatically in the player's inventory. Is that Bronca from... I think that is. It is her. That is her, Anska. You find her... I'm not even going to go into that one, but... It's like, you don't have to be a mage, man. Like, you just run around with a sword and your shield and you kill everybody. And then you learn 2 spells, or you learn 1 spell, Frostbite. You might already have that one in your inventory, I don't even know. You do the quest and all of a sudden you're Archmage. There's no need to learn magic. Like, I think I would prefer a system to where you've got to be qualified. Even, like, at the very start of the game. When the what's her name, Freelda basically goes, do you know your magic? If you know the spell, put it here. And if you don't, you can ask to buy it off and use it, and all of a sudden you're qualified to join the College of Winterhold. That's stupid, dude. Beyond stupid, even. Like, that's like, what? I mean, that's crap. If you didn't know the spell, then you would have had to go learn it on your own. And then, like, qualifications, man, to go and learn magic to enter the Mage's Guild, for crying out loud, or a complete quest, or things like that. There's a cool mod for that, made by Jay Sparrow, called Immersive College of Winterhold, I think it is. But also the fact that you're thrown into the deep end. The deep end, all the time. Every time you do like a Skyrim quest, there's no warming into it, making like you're part of the world. They just throw you to the absolute arse end of it. You do one little practical quest for the Mage's Guild, let's call them the Mage's Guild, and all of a sudden you're trying to save the world. Like, you do one practical mage quest and all of a sudden you're on an adventure. Same thing with the companions. You do one little quest for them, all of a sudden you find they're werewolves and you become a werewolf. The Dark Brotherhood feels a lot more warming up to it, like you actually gotta go kill people. Like, you do like 3 or... what the hell? You do 3 or 4 quests for the Dark Brotherhood before you're actually doing a contract that has to have the Emperor killed. For the Thieves Guild, you're kind of thrown to the dark end of it again, because, I mean, you're just this new thief that's just done, like, a successful... hell, you can fail the mission to pickpocket and then place false evidence inside the Dark Elf and still be recruited by the Thieves Guild, right? But once you've done the protection racket, you're then given a quest by the boss to go and infiltrate a highly fortified island that their main burglar couldn't even get into. I mean, it's like, what? Why not have me, like, go do some contracts? Like, why not recruit me and go, alright, go talk to Delvin and Vex, do some jobs, and just like the Thieves Guild in Oblivion, where you had to, like, steal enough, you had to steal a certain amount of money, I think it was like 1,000 gold's worth of stolen goods to progress to the next item. You had to earn the next quest. And that would have been good for this one, making you actually feel like a thief that was on him, like, you know, that was a thief. And then the quest would keep going on the further you stole, and that, it was really lackluster. You know, like, even the Dawnguard DLC, you're thrown to the deep end straight away. You go to join up, Isran sees you, he's like, oh yeah, I'll trust you to go and find out what these vampires are after, when you could even be a vampire. You could walk up to him as a vampire, he'll send you to go find a vampire, and you deliver that vampire. If your intentions of joining the Dawn Guard, you deliver a vampire with an Elder Scroll on her back to the enemy vampire clan. So what the fuck? That's just stupid. That's as dumb as shit, man. That's as dumb as goddamn shit. I couldn't believe that. And then all of a sudden you go and find these two people you need, then all of a sudden Serana's there, then you're thrown straight to the meat grinder. You're not even a Dawn Guard member. Like, you can still do the miscellaneous quests, thank God, but you go from joined up to be a vampire hunter to all of a sudden... That's actually the first time I've seen her out and about. Yeah. You go from being a vampire hunter, why is this one dead shit? To being like a saviour of Tamriel again. It just sucks, man. It just... Even the Dragonborn DLC, man, like... It doesn't feel like enough time's gone by. Because as soon as you've been declared the Dragonborn, like you've gone up the mountain, right? No one knows who the Dragonborn is. Not even the guards. They think they're the Dragonborn. You walk up High Hrothgar, you complete the ceremony. As soon as you get down from the mountain, there's goddamn worm cultists waiting for you. Worm cultists. I mean, what? How the hell did they get to Skyrim that quick? And how the hell they know that you're the Dragonborn before anybody else does? I mean, it would have made a lot more sense if they had arrived to ambush you as soon as you'd have delivered the horn of Jorgen Windcall to the Greybeards, because then by then the world knows that you're the Dragonborn. You have completed the ceremony. But yeah, as soon as you, I think I'm pretty sure as soon as you do like the demonstration for the Greybeards, I think they declare you an enemy. I'm not too sure. I could be wrong, but I know it's way too soon. There's a quest, probably like the quest to kill Elduin. That's to where they should turn up, because by then everyone knows that you're the Dragonborn. And I just don't like the way they did it. It's so stupid. But again, I've been doing a lot of shitting on Bethesda for their story elements in Skyrim, and I guess I just preferred Oblivion's a lot more, and that's why I'm going to love Skyrim Oblivion. And I'll probably even get lost in that, to be honest with you. But again, Skyrim's a beautiful game. It's a game that I can come to escape the real world, to tell stories and make my own stories and make the very world that I want. Oh man, more purple gloves. Like, it's crazy to think how far this game has come. And like, yes, I've shit on it, but I still love this game. I do, because there's no other games like it. I mean, if you put 100 PCs side by side, each one of them had 1,000 people's different Skyrim builds on it, you'd never feel like you're playing the same Skyrim. It'd be like you're jumping to the multiverse of the Elder Scrolls. You know, it's exactly what it'd be. You'd go from like this weird looking frost over, like, you know, just two people's different games, and you might go into someone who's got Thomas the Tank Engine Dragons and Tropical Skyrim, for fuck's sakes, and everyone's wearing slutty armor.
Hey, but you look tired. Cheers, my friend.
And that's what I love about Skyrim modding, is that no one's, like, unless of course now with, what do you got, those mod packs, like Wabberjack mod packs, where people download all the mods into one hit. Probably you got people like that that, you know, have all the same sort of Skyrim, but it's just, that's what I love about Skyrim, man. It's never the same. It's never the same, because everyone's going to have a different build, and I love that. It's awesome, you know, like, my game's going to look nothing like anyone else's game, except Rant, thank God. And that's why Skyrim is so successful, because anybody and everybody that has a PC, even probably an Xbox somewhat, can craft their very own Elder Scrolls Skyrim, and I love that. That's what it's all about, the freedom. That's why Skyrim is the best single player game. Not because of the shit that I've bashed on it for, but because of the modding freedom it provides. That is the reason why it's still, and always probably will be, the best Elder Scrolls game. And I find it's going to be very hard, very bloody hard for Bethesda to pull off Elder Scrolls 6 without people returning back to the Elder Scrolls 5. And that's brutal, man. Like, if they deliver a single map, or they deliver High Rock and Hammerfell, and a new quest line, and rebuild your own cities, like the settlement builder, and a new relationship system, and stuff like that, I don't know if that's enough to really keep people invested, to keep playing their game, because it takes them way too long to release modding tools. I mean, it's going on 8 months or 7 months since Starfield, and there's no modding tools yet. And I think people like myself are going to return back to Skyrim after about a month of playing Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6. So, again, I know I've shit on it quite a bit, and those that are new fans, I know you guys love it, and don't get me wrong, I love it too. But there are some serious flaws of Skyrim, and this is kind of what this entire rant is all about. At the end of the day, I'm going to be playing this game for a very long time. I've been playing it for 13 years. And a lot of its faults, it comes down to it was released too early. But Skyrim wouldn't be what if it is today if it was released 2 years later. And that's the truth. It is still a magnificent and wonderful game. It's definitely increased, you know, from Oblivion to Skyrim. I like the story more. I like the world space more. It felt more immersive. It felt more fulfilled. Because again, it had more time to actually flourish. Well, it came out when it was ready, but Skyrim did. But overall, the textures and the models, they feel a lot more real than what Oblivion's look like. Because Oblivion NPCs physically weren't potatoes. It was a 2006 game, and there are mod stuff to fix that. My favourite project is Beyond Skyrim, because it's going to increase the story where we leave Skyrim going to entirely new provinces, which is going to be amazing. Hands down, absolutely amazing. But one of my biggest projects I'm looking forward to is Sky Oblivion, because I'm able to go back to Oblivion and enjoy it in the look and the feel of the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. And also the role play for that's going to be amazing, because who knows if a team will come in and create a Obliv Rim. Obliv Rim, that sounds so shit. But like, you know, they completely destroy Skyrim. You know, they rebuild it, new towns, old towns that remove Riverwood, and they make Skyrim like third era with Ulfric's uncle, or Ulfric's like great-great-great-grandfather is the Jarl of Windhelm, and you go into like Skyrim in the time of like the third era, and you could even roleplay as like a dude in his 40s or 30s that was a greybeard acolyte and left and went to Cyrodiil, and he's got a couple of shouts to be lined up like Fusradar and Disarm and maybe like the first word of Flame, because he's not Dragonborn, it took him a long time to learn them. So you could play like someone that learnt the words and then left Skyrim and had some bad luck and ended up in jail in Cyrodiil to then become the champion of Cyrodiil and save the world. But other than that, I still love Skyrim. I could never play it vanilla. Never. But again, the reason it's the best game is quite simply because it's had 13 years of modding and you can create your very own Tamriel. Everyone has their own unique version of Skyrim. The reason why it's nowhere near as good as storytelling and its quest lines are kind of shit or watered down is simply because it was released a couple of years before it. But I still love Skyrim. Anyway guys, I'm going to get out of here because we made it to Markarth and I've talked for way too goddamn long. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what your opinions are, especially if you're a Morrowind player, how much you've lost out on when it comes to Skyrim and Oblivion. And if you're also an Oblivion player that made their way to Skyrim after Oblivion. Or if you totally disagree or you agree in some elements, let me know in the comments. We'll have a bit of a yarn, debate, discussion, or whatever, and whatever. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good one. Look after yourselves, and peace out.